Welcome to Yeshiva Daf, your sponsor, Nishba Sam Yaakov Nabas Yitzchok. We're holding Sanhedrin Daf Sameches. We're starting in the last three words of the Son of Zion base. We learned in the Mishnah, Rabbi Kiva said in the name of Rabbi Yeshua, he spoke about the kishuv has to do with loikit kishurim, someone who collects gourds, pumpkins. If he does it with kishuv, so it's chayav misa, and if he does it with achizas inayim, which means he just tricks people, so then he's potter of a loss. So says the Gemara now, the Sanhedrin Daf. Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yeshua Gomer Lo. Rabbi Akiva learned from Rabbi Yeshua the inyanim of kishuv, of sorcery and witchcraft. That specifically, as we'll see, by kishuim gourds. That time. The Gemara now is going to bring a long story. The story also is brought down in the Yerushalmi, and it's regarding the day of the Petira of Rabbi Eliezer. Now, one thing you have to remember before we start the story is Rabbi Eliezer was in Cherem, as we learned in the Second B'Metzia Daf Nun Tes. Rabbi Eliezer had the argument with Chachamim regarding the tree that moves from place to place. Regarding the tree was one of the rice. The question was Tanur Shalachnoi, the oven that's made out of small pieces. Does it have two more or not? And Rabbi Eliezer tried to persuade everybody to agree with him with different simanim. They didn't agree. He didn't accept their deal, and they put him in Cherem and put him in Midur. Says the Gemara. Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Yeshua Gamelo, the Rabbi Akiva learns from Yeshua about Tanya, Keshachol Rabbi Eliezer got sick. Nichnasu Rabbi Akiva v'chaveru levakroi. So Rabbi Akiva and his friends came to visit him. Hu Yoshe b'kinuf shaloi, v'em Yoshe b'traklin shaloi. He's sitting in his kinuf. Kinuf is the canopy. The same word, canopy, kinuf, in his bed. And they're sitting in his traklin, and call it living room. It was every Shabbos, it was getting close to Shabbos. Hugros comes to take out his tefillin. So he starts screaming on Hurkanus, what are you doing? And Hurkanus leaves the room. So I don't think my father has his mind is with him. Because why does he want to take out his tefillin? Now we're tefillin on Shabbos. Says the Gemara, they told him, so he says, talking about Rabbi Eliezer, he heard it, says, the one who lost his mind is your son and his mother, some kind of expression. What's the deal? He says, this is over here, is this Yuskilo? Which is Yuskilo? You have to light the candles. So as Tez points out over here, we're talking about he was very close to Shabbos. And it was almost Shkia. It was almost, the time that you can't light candles anymore. And you have to put in the food. Don't be busy with my tefillin. The tefillin is only Yisur Shvus. Half of it gives you skill, voice can be Yisur Shvus. If you're dealing with tefillin, when you have to deal with Yisur Skilo, with his Shabbos and with lighting the candles and preparing the food, Tais brings over here, right, asks, do you want to tell me they used to put out tefillin after the light candles? So this brings it right after that? Says there's no, here there just was a lack of time. You see, he is 100% with his mind, he knows exactly what he's doing. So they sat next to him 4 hours away. So why you came? I want to learn Torah with you. Here, the first should bring one of the riots that when a person is about to die, the right thing to do is learn with him Torah. So they say, we want to learn Torah with you. So why didn't you come till now? We didn't have time. It wasn't because they didn't have time, because he wasn't need to, he was in Cherem. But they wanted to appease his mind, not upset him. So you're allowed to do that. In the story, he said, I don't think you're going to die a normal death, because punishing you for the fact he didn't learn Torah from me, and that's these Rabbi Akiva and Chaveir were the ones that are killed. Pasor Arugi Malchus. Rabbi Akiva Shali Malchus. What about me? You're going to be worse. Why? Rashi explains, you were able to learn much more Torah from me because you're much greater. You lost the opportunity of learning Torah from me. So you're going to be worse. And we'll speak about Be'ez Hashem, the Shomach Shom and the Daf. What's exactly this conversation over here? If they're going to die and how they're going to die. He picked up his 2 hands. He put it on his heart. Your 2 hands are like the 2 Sefer Torah. Like the 2 Like we look at Yeshiva Torah, Nigloli Rabeh, which means they're rolled a lot. Meaning they're rolled a lot and they're not open. So I'm not going to be able to teach my Torah to you, to anybody. Like a closed Sefer Torah. Look at Rashi. My Torah will be covered. He learned from me. So he says, it continues. I learned a lot of Torah, and I taught a lot of Torah. I learned a lot of Torah, but I didn't take away from Rabboni, meaning when I learned from the Torah, I didn't learn I wasn't able to get to the level of the Torah of my Rabbi side. I was able to take from them only like a dog who licks a little bit of the sea. The water stays where it is. He didn't take too much out. Also, I didn't take a lot of the Torah of my Rabbi said. They're much greater than me. I taught a lot of Torah. That's like a miklos referes means like a pen, like a scribe when he takes out the pen putting into the ink. It takes a little bit. Most of the ink stays. Interesting why he differentiates between himself, what he took from his Rebbe and what his Talmid took from him. Not only that, I'm teaching 300 halachas regarding Hilchos Be'eres, which is regarding Be'eres Haz. Be'eres Haz has to do with Hilchos Maris Nigoyim. I have 300 halachas. Nobody asked me any questions about it. I know 300 halachas in Hilchos Be'eres, and I was not able to teach it. Nobody ever asked me any questions about Hilchos Be'eres. And not only that, these are 300 halachas or 3,000 halachas. Tiyos Kishuim meaning planting pumpkins, planting gourds. Nobody asked me anything about it. Except Akiva ben Yosef. So what? One time, rather, what it is, Kishuim, Rashi says, meaning Kshofim, that you filled the field with Kishuim. We're going in the way. Only Rebbe Lamdeni Metias Kishuim says, how exactly does it work, the pumpkins? They said a word in Kishuf, the whole field was filled with Kishuim. Only Rebbe Lamdeni he taught me how to fill the field with gourds. Lamdeni, I could also teach you how do you take out the field from gourds. I said something, they all gathered together to one place. So that was the Netius Kishuim. This is where we brought this whole story to show that Rabbi Lezer taught Rabbi Akiva Kishuf regarding Kishuim. And we're talking in the Mishnah about Kishuv and Kishuim. Then just to end the story, they asked the question, what did it test to see if he argued with Chachamim regarding halachas, did he change his mind? So Amuloi had Kadur. Kadur means a ball. That's really literally what it means. Rashi brings that the Kadur is a ball which is covered in leather, and you fill in it wool. So you put it in it, and in other words, it's a leather ball filled with wool, solid. Ve'imus, what's a imus? Imus, a similar idea is that it's like a type of is the tfus, right? They put into is the form of the shoe. So it's a leather. It's made of leather and filled in inside. That kamiyah, which they did for health purposes, they filled it also. They filled leather inside. V'tzroy or margolis, which is also you put a margolis, type of jewel, and put it surrounded with the leather. Or mishkos kanos, some of they did with the mishkrelis. They used the mishkrelis to use a weight to scale for the scale was leather with the leather covered. So what's the din? What does it come to say? They're not tummy. Why are they not tummy? Why? Because kliyar needs to, in order to get tumah, it has to have a base kibo, has to have a receptacle. There's no receptacle; it's all solid. Unless it says it is a receptacle, just the receptacle is full. So maflik is the more does it get tumah? Now, number two, if it gets tumah, according to Rabbi Lezer, the way it is, according to Rabbi Lezer, when you cut it, and now as a receptacle when it gets tumah, do you put it into the mikvah with its filling? Or the filling is separate, you have to take it out in order for it not to be chatzitzo. So Rabbi Lezer holds that the filling is part of the item and you can put it in the mikvah together. So after it says, Hem Tmein, they get tumah the way they is. And with their filling, they have tahara, put in the mikvah. And he continued holding like himself and did not change his mind to agree with Rabban. You have a shoe on top of the form. Is it considered to be that's finished or not? It is tar. It's not finished. Now look about the whole. They even though because you only have to remove it from the form, it's considered to be finished and it gets to him. He said the word tar and he died with this word. This idea we find a few times in Nivri Chazal that people are nifter with the word that describes them. So Rabbi Lazar says the word tar in his nifter that describes him as a person who is tar, who is pure. Yeshua says now the neder goes away. He the chayrim is out when he was nifter. Question is why? Doesn't explain anything more why. But the neder was he basically said that now the neder is out. So Akiva goes out to they took the levaya because he was nifter on Shabbos and basically on Shabbos, and the levaya is going out from Kisur Lud, and Akiva sees the levaya then. He was hitting himself till blood is coming out of him. Right? The Ritz asks, what do you mean? How can you do such a thing? How do such a thing on a mace? It says by Tabichochem Yaleto. Pasal B'Shur V'Alma, I said a aspirin, the shur they do for a mace. Avi Rechav Yisrael Parashov. You are the chariot of Am Yisrael. I have a lot of coins. I don't have a banker to go to. In other words, I have a lot of questions. I don't have a rebbe to go to. Almo, and this is something to understand. What's the whole story over here? If Rabbi Lezer was in Chayrim, so what is it we keep crying about? He could have gone in his lifetime. He didn't go because he was in Chayrim. Same way, Almo Rabbi Lezer Gomo. So the rebbe who taught Rabbi Akiva Yichus Kishuv is Rabbi Lezer. Says well, Gomer Rabbi Lezer V'Lo Sovro. He learned Rabbi Lezer, but he didn't know it. He didn't understand it. How the Gomer Rabbi Yeshua V'Azu in Yalei, and then Rabbi Yeshua came explain to him. So Rabbi Yeshua is the one who actually gave the Torah to Rabbi Akiva. So how did Rabbi Lezer do kishuv and fill up the field with pumpkins and take it out? You're not allowed to use kishuv. It says you're not allowed to do a maise with kishuv. It says they weren't Islam and Shani. He did it to teach. In other words, to show him what kishuv is. You're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to learn it in order to teach, in order to understand, to know what it is. A little bit of Dava Shatashiv that you do have. And that's what he did, and that was the end of the story. Hadron Arba Mises, Beis Hashem, end of the 7th parak of Masechet Sanhedrin. We're going straight into the 8th parak of the Masechta. As Rashi points out, we're continuing on with the Din Niskolim. We brought a list of Niskolim, and we're going through them. And now we're getting to the next one. What is the next one? Ben Soyer Umayr. Ben Masay Nesa Ben Soyer Umayr. When does he become Ben Soyer Umayr? Mishiyov Ishti Cyrus. Once he becomes an adult, he has 2 Cyrus. That Yokif Azokon until his Zokon fills up, says the Gemara Hatachtoim Veloya Elyon, meaning the bottom Zokon, not the top Zokon. Right, just says Zokon. I don't want to come and say too much. I say Zokon. Shnema Kiyelish Ben Veloy Bas. That's to be a boy, not a girl. Ben Veloy Ish can be too old, an adult. The Gemara is going to tell us exactly how you know what it is. But from here you learn that once he gets to Hakavas Zokon, so he's not a ben tzoyer because he's an ish. And kata potter shlo bechal mitzvahs. Kata we know is potter. Any kata is potter. There's no mitzvahs by a kata. Says the Gemara. Kata we know the potter. So what it says? Why do you know kata is potter? So what do you mean? We know the ketani tami shlo bechal mitzvahs. The Mishnah says there's no mitzvahs by a kata. Vetu another question. Hey chash karon do'onish kasu do'chali by kolam iftarei. He says, where do you find a P'tur by Kotel? We never found the Chiyuv. Why should you have to bring up P'tur? So then we go with this one. How do I come in? This is what we're bothered by. How to ben Tzoyer Moyer al Chetun Erek? Al Chetun Erek. Meaning, a ben Tzoyer Moyer. Why do you kill ben Tzoyer Moyer? What's a ben Tzoyer Moyer? As the one's going to tell us soon in this parak, ben Tzoyer Moyer stole money from his parents, bought wine, bought meat, and drank. He went and he drank wine and ate meat. That's so terrible. But Elama, neither shall Sefer. If a kid acts this way, that shows how he's going to be when he becomes an adult. So says the Gemara, I'll show Sefer Nerog. If I'm not sure Sefer Nerog, he's judged based on what's going to happen later. Fil Kotonami, I don't care that he's not chayav right now. punish him based on what's going to be in that. Another thing is that you want to look for a pasuk. It says ben. Ben means a child. It means underage. So I have a svara and I have a pasuk. I tell you, underage he's going to be chayav. Says the word dasha that we'll see in a moment. The Gemara is dasha v'chiyeh li'ish ben. The way dasha it, the simple understanding when we read the pasuk is when a man will have a son. But the way we dash it over here is v'chiyeh li'ish ben, when the ben becomes ish, when the ben gets close to ish. Let's see the Rashi. Rashi says. When he gets the ish, he becomes a ish, but some he's not completely ish. That's what Rashi brought in the Mishnah, and he says we do the chiyuvas afterwards, because it says chiyah ben ish ben grosso shel ish. If so why does the Mishnah say shloi b'chal mitzvahs? Well, why do we say that? So, seemingly, the Gemara is going to bring over here to svara as well. Meaning, the Torah is telling you ben ish, it says ben, it says ish. How do I know they're talking about after 13? So you're saying little bit of even though misvara, I would have another svara. The other svara would be that maybe punishment should say for even though he's a child, because it says ben ish, and you have the svara of shlo b'chamitzas. So together, I come to the conclusion, we talk about after the age of 13, close to the age of ish. That's what I have to say. Says the Gemara of Yaakif, Zakratachta. Till Zakratachta fills up. Tarab Chia Chiakif Atorah. So be the Atorah. Atorah is the head of the Gid. Ki also Dimi, Oma Akofas Gid Vila Akofas Beitzim. He says, talk about what it means to be a Torah. It means to say that I'm coming to be Makif, the Gid, the Aver, and not the Beitzim, not the eggs, meaning that part of the body. And the other part, that's the Akofah that we're talking about. And as the Mashmos is, that as Rashi points out, that's earlier. It's an earlier stage that he has the beard around the Gid and not around the Beitzim. That's the age that we're talking about. Says the Gemara, okay. So let's see a few lines into the sugya. We go back to this tomorrow in the next half. Says the Gemara, if a child has a child, so it doesn't come in Tzorim. Why? When the ish has a ben, and not a ben has a ben, meaning not a child has a ben. So it tells you that he needs to be Soluch L'Gros Shalish, which is the Joshua we just learned. So when ben leish, when a ben turns to be a ish. Why it says Kilish ben? You're talking about the father too. My Kilish ben, Shabi no Kel Chisto. Fehema Kulilach, so maybe goes all for that. You can name a call ben ish. Kiye ben ish, when the ben turns to be a ish. Right? Why it turns to be a ish? Why it says Kiye ben leven ish? Right? Kiye leish ben, sorry. My leish ben, Shabi no Tati. So you win both things. The fact that it says the Lamed and he puts in this order tells you talking about a father having a child. If you're talking about if you're talking about only the father, Shikiyah ben Leish. So the Seder and the order teaches you two things. When he himself becomes a Ish, Kiyeh Leish ben, the ben turns to be a Ish, and also the father's Ish. A Ish has to be a father, that the father needs to be an adult, not a child. And then the Gemara from here on is going to go on to say, can a child have a child? That will be the sugi, the Beis Hashem, which really goes in to the next daf. So we'll stop over here and continue from here in the next one. Kol Tov.